So I've had a couple of videos recently where I was it was like workout kind of videos where I was showing you some of my workouts and I didn't have on a shirt. I was outside. I don't typically record videos like that, but I really want to make clear why I chose and am choosing to do those videos. The reason why is because I want to maximize my skin exposure to sunlight, the UVB rays in particular of the sun. The reason why, of course, we know the main reason, which is that we synthesize vitamin D, which is one of the most hands down important nutrients for our body for so many different reasons when our skin is exposed to the sunlight. Like I say, in particular, the UVB rays of the sunlight, because you have UVA and you have UVB. Now, the thing to also note is that, a lot of times when people talk about getting sun exposure for vitamin D production, they're talking about exposure of 20 to 25% of the body to sun rays, which is like, arms and legs. However, again, your skin surface, um, your whole skin surface can help synthesize vitamin D, which means that the more of your skin surface that is exposed to the sun, the more vitamin D you can synthesize. If there's any extra, you don't get toxic levels from the sun because your body can store that in your body fat. So that's important to note as well. But I am really, again, like I don't typically post videos like that. But and I also don't typically go outside, and and I even say this, like I typically, whenever I'm working out outside, my workouts are in my backyard. If I'm doing yard work and I don't have on a shirt, then I'm doing that. Like I'm just doing the backyard yard work that way. You know, just kind of modesty reasons. Just kind of maybe being self conscious and stuff like that. Just being honest, but y'all like understand this. Mankind has been on the earth for a very long time. It hadn't been just for 100 years. It's been for many, many, many thousands of years. Okay, and over time, we adapted to sun exposure. Keep in mind our modern day ways of having on a lot of different clothes and stuff like that and being inside all the time. We've only really been doing that for maybe a few hundred years, a few hundred. But when you consider the thousands of years that we've been on this earth as a species, we're not really used to being so distant from sunlight the way that we are. And I believe that that is the reason why it's so consequential for us to not get that sun exposure. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Isn't sunlight harmful? And yeah, it can be. Whenever your skin is like especially burned a lot by the sun, which happens even more so with people who are lighter skinned, that can be a skin cancer risk. Um, and you want to be careful. However, and I wish I could find the source. But one thing I've heard is that part of the reason that sunlight tends to be harmful to us is not necessarily just because of the sunlight, it's because of our lack of consumption of antioxidants and nutrients that will actually protect us from the harmful effects of the sun. Because what happens is, even when you have other processes in the body, like when you drive a car, you have like the byproducts that are kind of spit out through the muffler, the smoke and all that stuff, with combustion. You have byproducts from all these different processes, even with the sun being on your skin. You do have oxidation and stuff like that. A body that is properly nourished can actually do pretty well with doing away with some of those harmful effects of the sun because it's protected. Our bodies have these protection mechanisms, but we're not supplying them with adequate nutrition so that they'll work the right way, if that makes sense. So it all works together, man. I heard somebody, what's the lady's name? Natasha McBride. She wrote the book talking about the GAPS protocol, the GAPS diet that's supposed to help people to heal their guts when they're dealing with certain kind of health issues. I saw a reference to her, and again, I'm not gonna put the exact. I'm just trying to remember because I didn't put notes for all of these things, but some lady said she talked to that author, and she was saying that, and I'm gonna actually talk about some science related to this, but talked about uh sun rays, the UVB rays in particular, possibly being able to shine through the body because they're not just it's not just light that we can see. The UVB rays are infrared light, which actually goes deeper than surface level. And she was implying that it can penetrate the skin, even into the organs, and directly help to change the microbiome, your gut bacteria, in a good way, which can help with a lot of different digestive and overall health issues. So check this out. I got this here, and I'm gonna put links to these studies in the description. But I came across a study that was titled "Skin Exposure to Narrowband Ultraviolet UVB Light Modulates the Human Intestinal Microbiome." And here's a quote that I got from that, I think from the abstract, that says humans with low 25 OHD serum levels, that's low vitamin D levels, display overt changes in their intestinal microbiome in response to NB UVB skin exposure, and increases in vitamin D levels, suggesting the existence of a novel skin gut axis that could be used to promote intestinal homeostasis and health. So in other words, people who had low vitamin D levels, when they were exposed to UVB sun rays, experience increases in their vitamin D levels, um, and let's see, and as it said, overt changes to their intestinal microbiome. It's saying in response to the skin exposure to UVB rays and the increase in vitamin D levels. Another study I came across called "Gut Microbiota Interactions with the Immunomodulatory Role of Vitamin D in Normal Individuals" had this quote: "The role of vitamin D in the maintenance of immune homeostasis seems to occur in part by interacting with the gut microbiota. The attenuation, that means the lessening, the attenuation of association of bacterial genera by inflammatory markers suggests that inflammation participates in part in the relationship between the gut microbiota and vitamin D concentration. Studies with appropriate design are necessary to address hypotheses raised in the current study." So basically, this is saying that vitamin D seems to um, cause balance to the immune system in part by interacting with the gut microbiota, the gut bacteria. So vitamin D somehow interacting with those bacteria and attenuating or balancing um, immune um, you know status and immune response, or something to that level, lowering the attenuation of the lowering of association of bacterial genera by inflammatory markers. So like there being a lessening of association of inflammation with the microbiome via vitamin D. Okay. So again, you thinking you get these UVB rays in, that sunlight exposure is helping to attenuate inflammation, um, helping to improve your gut. Okay. Now, here's something else I came across. And this is for my fellow, black people. So this says it is estimated that greater than 50% of African Americans in the United States are either chronically or seasonally at risk of vitamin D deficiency. Nesby Odell et al. Reported that in the third National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, 42% of African American women, 15 to 49, were found to be vitamin D deficient at the end of the winter. 84% of American men and greater who were greater than 65 years of age were vitamin D deficient at the end of the summer in Boston. The reasons for this are that African Americans often have a lactase deficiency and do not drink milk. People tend to fortify milk with vitamin D. They have markedly decreased efficiency in making vitamin D3 in their skin, which is because we have more melanin, which is protective from UVB rays, but it also comes with the other consequence of it requiring us to be in the sun more than people who have lighter skin. And they avoid the sun because they do not want to increase their skin pigmentation. I'm a witness to that. Being a black person, I know we used to say stuff like we don't want to get blacker and all that stuff, which I think is just a sad state of affairs, for us to allow ourselves to have been influenced by that kind of stuff. Um, y'all, we can't be avoiding the sun. I mean, you need to be responsible in the sun, but you can't avoid it. And I know various people, who may or may not really go outside like at all. And you got to change that. You got to change that. You really have to, if you want your health to be optimal, if you want to be protected from a variety of different illnesses, you have to change not wanting to be out in the sun. So check this out, because I don't want this video to be too long. Let me read this summary that I got from ScienceDirect.com. Check this out. Vitamin D deficiency and decreased exposure to solar UVB radiation have been demonstrated to increase the risks of many common cancers, type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, and multiple sclerosis. And there are indications that they may be associated with type 2 diabetes and schizophrenia, mental health. The photosynthesis of vitamin D has been occurring in living organisms for greater than 500 million years, and it is not surprising that vitamin D has evolved into such an important and necessary hormone, which acts as an indicator of overall health and well being. Vigilance in maintaining a normal vitamin D status, um, should be a high priority. Surveillance for vitamin D deficiency should be a part of normal yearly physical examination. Last time I got a vitamin D test, which was a long time ago, I had to request it. And that is from like a standard conventional doctor. So if you're getting blood tests and stuff like that, make sure you request your vitamin D. When I got my vitamin D tested last time, again, was in my 20s. So it's been a minute. It was low. I was a bit surprised then too. I was surprised. It was low. And hopefully it's higher now. I probably need to get a blood test here soon. But I know, working my engineering job, being inside of a building all day long with no windows. Um, I mean, even though windows in and of themselves block out UVB rays, if I'm not mistaken, the point is no sun exposure. I would go out and take walks and stuff like that, but darn, man, you know. Um, and then so various cancers, autoimmune diseases, including type 1 diabetes and MS, um, even type 2 diabetes, schizophrenia. That's why I'm willing to go outside and work out in general, and even here in 2025 without a shirt on, because I want to get that vitamin D, man. I want to get that vitamin D. I want to do whatever I can to maximize my vitamin D levels because I understand that we as humans have adapted to the sun such that we extract much benefit from it. And when we do as we've done for the past maybe 200 years or so, and block our skin from the sun by covering all of our skin up with clothes and by staying indoors, we are directly harming ourselves just because of our lifestyle. This is because of like our lifestyle, and so we don't think anything of it. because it's what we're used to. But how many of y'all know out there that just because we're used to it in America does not make it right? It doesn't make it beneficial. And what we don't know is hurting us. So please get out there in the sun. I guess the optimal times for UVB exposure are really like the hotter times, but get out there for some responsible sun exposure. So, I think for black folks up to 30 minutes a pop. Um, Try to expose more of your skin, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you're comfortable with. Like I said, I'm using my backyard or whatever. Um, in shorts, no shirt or whatever. Because we need it. We need that. We need it. We need it. We need it. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. I don't really have much else to say. Hopefully, this causes someone to change their behavior, stop avoiding the sun altogether, and thinking that it doesn't really matter because it does. Supplementation is good too, but I believe that um, direct exposure to the sun is the most beneficial. It's like where we get most of our vitamin D from anyway. When it's in foods, it tends to be in smaller concentrations. So anyway, um, that's all I got, y'all. If you're 35 to 50 years old and wanting to lose weight, get stronger, and become more athletic, but you keep finding yourself hitting roadblocks like aches and pains, stuck at the same weight, lack of motivation, even wondering if your fitness goal is impossible to reach, I got something for you. My exclusive fitness support consists of my daily fitness mindset mornings every weekday morning, where I teach you the mindset that fit people use to achieve high levels of health and fitness, and where you can ask me your specific health and fitness questions so that you can finally get unstuck. You also get access to my video workout library, as well as my fat loss workbook, fitness journal, and other helpful fitness related downloads we have available on our Patreon. If that sounds good to you and you're ready to change your mind so that you can finally change your body, your health, and your life, join us now at patreon.com/Sean B2B Fitness.